I'm John Perticone, acting supervisor, and I'm joined by the town board. These are good evenings for me and as well as the town board, swearing in new officers, and I know what it takes to get to that point of getting sworn in and going through the process. It's a lot of hard work. My congratulations to each and every one of you. So we'll start the ceremonies. Welcome to the families. I'm certainly sure you're all proud of your family member that's going to be up here joining the IPD and getting sworn in. So Chief, if you'd like to join me, we'll get it going.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. Like Supervisor Perticone said, this is it's a monumentous occasion in the career of these 4 officers. Tonight we have the honor of swearing in 1 officer who was a transfer, came to us with many years of experience, and then 3 officers who started their careers back in December. All 4 of these folks started right around the same time with us in December, so it's been a little over about 10 months or so now. This is it's an honor to be able to stand here and introduce the 4 newest officers to the Irondequoit Police Department. Each one of them did a phenomenal job over the last 10 months. The Officer Kerr, when he transferred here, he brought just a large amount of knowledge with him. He's taught us all a lot of things, which is the biggest thing about law enforcement is we continue to learn. The 3 recruits who just finished their field training, they spent the last 6 months, first 6 months of their career in the academy, and then the last 4 months on the road learning how to put into action what they did and what they learned in the academy, and each and every one of them did an exceptional job with that. So we have the great honor of doing this tonight, so we'll start with Officer Greg Kerr.
We got to get the oath.
Yes, come here. Yeah.
There it is.
I've done it 6 times and I forgot the most important
Right.
piece.
Who's going to hold the Bible? Okay. Put your left hand up and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Gregory Kerr, do solemnly swear that I will defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York. I will enforce all the laws of the state of New York and the town of Irondequoit. I will fulfill the duties of the rank of police officer to the best of my ability. I will serve, protect, and guide the citizens of the town of Irondequoit. I will obey all orders, rules, and regulations of the town of Irondequoit. Congratulations. Good luck. Okay. Officer Kelly? You got family?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'm assuming you're holding the Bible, okay?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's your job.
Important job.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michael Cayley,
I, Michael Cayley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend the Constitution
that I will defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New York.
and the state of New York.
I will enforce all the laws
I will will enforce all the laws
of the State of New York
of the State of New York
and the Town of Arundequoit.
and the Town of Arundequoit.
I will fulfill the duties
I will fulfill the duties
of the rank of police officer
of the rank of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will serve,
I will serve,
protect, and guide
protect, and guide
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
I will obey all orders,
I will obey all orders,
rules, and regulations
rules, and regulations
of the the Arundequoit Police Department.
of the Arundequoit Police Department.
Congratulations. Good luck. Good luck. Officer Heidi Zimmer? Her family? Hi, how are you? Who's holding the Bible?
Can all three of them put their
Okay,
hands on
all right,
that?
go ahead.
One hand here. Okay, ready?
Raise your right hand. I, Heidi Zimmer,
I, Heidi Zimmer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend the Constitution
that I will defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the State of New York.
and the State of New York.
I will enforce all the laws
I will enforce all the laws
of the State of New York
of the State of New York
and the Town of
and
Arundequoit.
the Town of Arundequoit.
I will fulfill the duties
I will fulfill the duties
of the rank of police officer
of the rank of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will serve,
I will serve,
protect, and guide
protect, and guide
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
I will obey all orders,
I will obey all orders,
rules, and regulations
rules, and regulations
of the Arundequoit Police
of the
Department.
Arundequoit Police Department.
Congratulations. Good luck. Good luck, everybody. Bring that. Sign it. I know what you're all thinking. All right, John, you know that by heart. Don't use the paper, right? Okay, last but not least, Tyler Friedman, officer. And his family? Come on up. Hi, how are you? I, Tyler Friedman,
I, Tyler Freeman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend
that I will defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and the State of
States
New York.
and the State of New York.
I will enforce all the laws
I will enforce all the laws
of the State of New York
of the State of New York
and the Town of Arundequoit.
and the Town of Arundequoit.
I will fulfill the duties
I will fulfill the duties
of the rank of police officer
of the rank of police
to the
officer
best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will serve,
I will serve,
protect, and guide
protect, and guide
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
the citizens of the Town of Arundequoit.
I will obey all orders,
I will obey all orders,
rules, and regulations
rules, and
of the
regulations
Arundequoit Police Department.
of the Arundequoit.
Congratulations. Good luck. Okay, good luck. Congratulations. Congratulations. Be proud. Bring that up to Barb. Again, congratulations. Looks like a great bunch of police officers. Very proud they're going to be representing IPD. And to the families too. I know it's a lot of work, what they go through to get to this point, and I can't explain enough how proud I am to see new officers coming onto the police force. So thank everyone, and thanks for your hard work as well too. I have a proclamation. Is Luca here and his family? Yeah, Luke. Yeah. I'm sorry. How are you? Good, good. Aaron, if you'd like to just say a few words on behalf of Luke. Sure. Okay? And
Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron McGee, the Deputy Commissioner of Public Works here for the town that most people don't know. But a few months ago, I had the privilege of being approached by Luke, and together we worked out a wonderful Eagle Scout project for him to do tremendous work down at Camp Eastman. He created new trails, put wood chips on those trails, helped us paint new signs, built benches. I mean, it was a tremendous amount of work that he took over many weekends with his friends and his family that help him. And we're just, very grateful. I wanted to bring him here to show our gratitude from the town and how, recognizing the amount of work that he did in planning and communication with me. And it was just it was a wonderful experience. And it was just really want to thank you, Luke, for your amount of work that you did for us, and we're very appreciative.
Okay, Luke. Well, first of all, Luke, congratulations. We have a proclamation here for you, okay, for all the hard work that you did. And I will read this. Whereas a great society is only a great of those individuals who perform exemplary services in behalf of their community, whether through unique achievement in professional or other endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of good citizenship. And whereas it is the belief of the town board, and when such individuals celebrate milestone occasions, it is appropriate to publicly proclaim and commend those milestones for the edification and emulation of others. And whereas Mr. Luke Shalom, a senior at Arundequoit High School, through hard work and dedication, has received the highest honor a young man can attain in the Boy Scouts of America, achieving the rank of Eagle Scout as a member of the local Boy Scout Troop 220. And whereas Luke's work over the course of several weeks and along the new trails at Camp Eastman included mapping the new trails, spreading many yards of mulch, building new benches, painting trail signs, and helping with the installation of bat houses. And whereas recognizing that Luke serves as a tremendous example, not only to other Boy Scouts, but to the entire Arundequoit community, of the value in volunteering to improve your community. Therefore, let it be resolved that we, the Arundequoit Town Board, on behalf of the entire town of Arundequoit, do hereby recognize and congratulate Luke Shalom on the impressive achievement of earning rank of Eagle Scout and wish him well in his future endeavors. So declared of the day of the 19th, October 2021. Luke.
Hello, I would just like to thank the town and Aaron McGee for letting me do this project. It was a lot of fun, and we were able to help our community out in a way that hopefully will benefit many people. So thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Bob.
see if she's outside.
I don't know where she, is Erin going to see? Okay, thank you.
During the meeting and when the agenda item is called up. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jane Nicholson and the rest of the EDR team, Joe, Ryan, and Rose, who can go through the master plan process and ultimately what that master plan concept is being recommended for the town.
Okay.
Jane?
Just to reiterate, thanks, Bob, for that. Obviously, we'll wait till the resolution comes after we open the meeting up, and then we'll open that up to all kinds of questions and answers, and we'll take it from there. So go ahead. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiley. Is it okay if I keep the mask down? I want to make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. I know I do have a volume that travels. Supervisor, thank you so much for having us tonight, and to the entire town board. This has been a process that has been so unbelievably rewarding for myself and this team, and I think for the entire community. It is also one that, I have to be careful saying this, but the process went so smoothly, the community rallied. It has just been such a fantastic experience, and working with Councilman Romeo on the project. Again, just thank you for your support and everything you do for this community. So first off, I know you all received a copy of the report. Does anyone need a hard copy in front of them or would like one? Town attorney, of course. What are we signing ourselves up for? Here you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Could I get a copy also?
Of course, yes.
If you have enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Here you go. Anyone, are you all set?
Yeah, I'm good
Okay,
too.
great. Thank you. So the town hall process, the master plan, really culminated in this document, which is titled the Master Plan Report. And this report walks you through each step of the process. So as you all know, the project kicked off in May of this year when former Supervisor Seeley had a press release event for the community, kind of formally announcing the backyard project. But this project actually started before that. This project was born out of really a devastating event. And where there's change comes opportunity. the growth of Irondequoit really was framed around residential growth in the 50s and 60s, and so much that the residential growth outpaced that of other amenities that you see common in planning today, such as parks, trails, open space, those places that we value so much. It just didn't grow at the same pace. And again, that's very common in many communities, especially in the 50s and 60s. And so all of a sudden you come up into the 90s and the early 2000s, and you look around and say, you know, we really need more open spaces, and our kids need more places to play, and we need more places to walk. And so what ends up happening is that you start looking for places to do infill development, vacant, underutilized sites. You have to start getting creative. And the town of Irondequoit has done such an amazing job at finding spaces for new activity fields and pocket parks, and accessibility to the waterfront. And so now you have a tragic event in 2016 that leaves you with, ironically, the space I'm looking at tonight. And instead of turning around and saying, you know, let's just rebuild as is, let's look to the future. Let's see what other opportunities we have. Maybe this isn't the right place for the DPW. And sure enough, the town made that very conscious decision to relocate DPW to maybe a more suitable site. And now we have a chance to really re-envision the town hall property that has evolved to include so many other uses: the library, historic structures, the courts and the police, the town hall. This is a place where people come together, not just come to pay a tax bill. So let's make the most that we can. And the overwhelming response we got from the community is that they had a very similar vision, and that's why they got behind this process. So when the project started off and kicked off in May of this year, former Supervisor Seeley did make a very public announcement about this being a community-driven process, and that was not something that we just spoke about. That is something a commitment that followed through. So community engagement was really the first step, and this was an accelerated timeline. This was not a project that was going to take 6 years just to get through a conceptual design. This was to be designed by the end of the summer. And so we walked into this project understanding that it would be very, very aggressive. But it was a challenge they were up to, and it was one that we knew we could meet with resounding success. So we've started the first phase in June, and this was focused on community engagement. So we started off, the town established a working advisory committee, in which, again, Councilwoman Romeo was a part of, and came very enthusiastically and so excited to share her thoughts, which I can't tell you how much we appreciate. And this steering committee was made up of local business owners and residents and those who were really champions for the community. And we spent time walking the site. We spent time learning a lot about the site, as well as what people's hopes were and what their vision was. And out of the steering committee came this concept of creating a site that is accessible to everybody, inclusive to everybody, and has connectivity. Connectivity not just from a circulation perspective, but also connecting everything on the site, all the uses now and in the future. And so that's really what the driving vision was. And this was confirmed through a community-wide survey that went out. We had over 500 respondents, which was phenomenal. For any survey I've ever done in many towns, villages, and cities, that was one of the highest response rates I've ever worked on in my 20-year career. And that was in 2 weeks. So people were really excited to be engaged and share their thoughts. The community survey focused on 3 areas. It focused on site amenities, site priorities, and programs. So what were the types of activities that people wanted to do here? What were some of the amenities they were hoping to see? And then what were their priorities? Is it safety? Is it cleanliness? Is it about being age-friendly for everybody? It turns out everything is a priority. They wanted it all, and rightfully so. And some of the site priorities were things that would be controlled through maybe more maintenance versus others, such as age-friendly or accessibility. We had control over through the design, such as making sure that everything was ADA accessible. So we're able to start to weed out what would be more of a long-term maintenance versus an actual site priority. Other results for the survey included programs. So the community wanted to see more senior programs. They wanted to see other programs associated with the library. And none of this was really too surprising. It's what we expected to hear. And also we had to take into consideration that many of the respondents were over a certain age demographic. So it wasn't too surprising, but it really certainly gave us affirmation in the process. And then when it came to site amenities, the community wanted to see more walking trails, event space. The farmers market is one of the most valued assets associated with the town hall. And so through that and through the comments, we started to see emerging this idea of a permanent event space. And this also came up as well very strong through the steering committee, the advisory committee. So between the advisory committee and the the community survey, we had a good idea of some of those deeper dive questions that we wanted to start to talk about with focus groups. So we held 3 focus groups that were meant to be these what we call deep dive sessions, where we get to find out additional information, kind of get into people's heads of, if the community says this, what does this mean? So our first focus group was held with town staff, agency staff, where we got to learn about what it's like to work here every single day. What are some of the challenges? What are the opportunities? What would you, as being a staff member or a board member, what do you need when you're coming here every day? And some of the results of that came out particularly about pedestrian safety and sight lines and visibility out in the parking lot. We also heard about some of the challenges walking north to the Little League fields, and then overall safety and not having access to the central part of the campus. We also heard about the need for additional program space, especially for the library, and the ability to be able to go outside in group settings and to have those spaces that are safe, especially for everybody of all ages, but also have quiet spaces for reading groups or yoga groups, and so the need to be able to transform spaces that could be used for programs. Our second group did focus on programs, so we had representatives from the recreation department, the farmers market, and talking about spaces for events, the need to have, when you're hosting these events, and this property is just becoming so well positioned to host more of the 4th of July celebrations and the Juneteenths and the Winterfest, and to have space that can accommodate a lot of people. And so what we heard out of that process was the need for parking, and if you're going to have a permanent event space, how are vendors going to get in and out? How are you going to accommodate traffic while accommodating potentially 1,500, 2,000 people at one farmer's market? That's a lot. And so everybody needs to be able to move safely through the space. And so programs, that focus group really reflected that as well. And then the third focus group was a lot of fun, and this was the Town of Irondequoit Little League. And so that was a lot of conversation focused on the northern end, naturally, of the site. But also they echoed the need to be able to better connect to parking, and that parking and drop-off, is a really a big concern. And moving children and equipment and extra kids and and bringing the whole family, there's a challenge with connecting from the lower part of the site to the northern part of the site. The parking and especially safety along Kings Highway was a big concern. And this was also echoed through Commissioner Kiley's personal experience when we walked it, and he talked about, some of the challenges of bringing, young children up and down Kings Highway. And it really, I think, hit home, especially when we were out walking the site with the advisory committee. So again, nothing was too surprising when we were listening to the focus groups, but it really confirmed everything we had been hearing to that point. So our engagement process then also included public meetings. So we held the first one during a farmer's market, and this was a lot of fun. We, instead of focusing on, tell me what types of picnic tables or how big of the field you want to see on the site, we asked people what they want to feel when they're on the site and what they want to experience. And so this is a little bit different because this gives our designers You know, are we building in a big hardscaped area, a concrete jungle? Are we keeping it more natural? What is it that you want to feel when you are in that space? And so this was a little bit of a different approach, but it was really overwhelmingly, the response was this part of being in a park-like setting. That's where that really started to emerge. And so that indicated to us that we are going to be doing, you know, more of a softer design, really connecting, giving people the feeling of safety in a space and being able to circulate and not be in a concrete jungle by any means. I know that was probably a bad example, but I think you see where I'm going. So that was the first public meeting. So, and that wrapped up our engagement efforts just in the month of June. So that was a very intense 3-week period. For the months of July and into early August is when our designers really went to work putting all of this information together. And in August, I know we were supposed to roll out the concepts earlier, we had 2 design alternatives. And the difference between the design alternatives really came down to permanent farmers market versus the restoration or rehab of an existing building. And so we presented these both to the community in person and through an online survey, so they were accessible both ways. And you know, it's when we go into the design process, you never know what the community is really going to say. You can take your guesses any best day. You know, it's going to come down to this walking path, or it's going to come down to this light fixture, whatever it may be. And the community, their response was overwhelming in support of the second option, which was to create a new permanent farmers market space. And so that's what we were calling option B. And the responses were everything from, you know, we really enjoy having a larger event space. We like where it's positioned and the way that it connects the community. And so that was the design that we then worked with to go into our final design. And I have to say that a big part of this that I skipped over, and the reason I did because I think we all understand the existing conditions of the site, but this was this master plan was really grounded in an extensive site constraint analysis that our designers walked through, where they really understood everything from the slopes to the vegetation, the lack thereof vegetation, and understanding traffic patterns, understanding, you know, if you plant here, where's the stormwater runoff going to go? So they really had a very, very strong understanding of what could go where, especially at the conceptual level. So this was very well out and very, very well thought out and very, very strategic. So once we got through understanding what the community preference was, we went back to the drawing board to make some revisions to the plan, and that's what you have in front of you here tonight. So the final master plan is really a culmination of all of the engagement. It's also reflects, and I believe truly reflects, a community vision that is ready to go into site planning and design. This is really centered, as I said, centered around a permanent farmers market. But starting to the north, and I hope you all have a copy. If you don't have a copy in front of you, please let me know. Some of the major elements include creating dedicated service access for the police department, which again came out very much from the beginning that there were safety concerns with ingress and egress, potential for traffic accidents coming around the corner of the Broderick, of the garage, and some serious sightline challenges. And so that was something that got designed very early on was, okay, how are we going to find a way that the police officers can do their job and feel safe coming in and out without the fear that they're going to hit someone in the event of another emergency that they have to leave for. And so you can, you all know and have probably experienced that is a challenge. So this dedicated service access to the back would be gated, and it would be only accessible to officers leaving and coming to site. So it would be, you know, one of those electronic gates you can go up to and it would open. In this design, the Little League fields would remain as they are, and we would create enhancement around them. So the parking area up there is really undersized. It only fits approximately 20 vehicles, I believe 4 of which are for accessibility. So you really are only working with 16 parking spots. And all of you may know on Little League night, 16 is probably not enough. Those get to be rather sizable groups, especially if you have 3 games going on at the same time or are rotating. So the idea here is to transform that parking lot into a drop-off circle where parents could come in, drop off, unload your players, and all the equipment that goes with it, and then you can drive out into a dedicated parking spot. And so this would also improve just circulation around the site. We also included a new playground structure, and this was one. Playgrounds came up many times, but it was really identified that parents, while they're trying to watch one child, would love to have another space. You know, the kids that are always pulling on you, is it time to go, is it time to go? They would now have kind of a smaller playground right there on site where parents can keep an eye on both what's happening with the game and their children at the same time. And then the restrooms and the concession stand would remain the same, with new interconnecting pathways that would then lead south to 2 things that I want to call out. One is the new parking that would go around the southern field, and that would be really the connecting parking space for both the northern fields and the southern lawn. The other thing I want to call out is the accessibility along Kings Highway. Here, as you know, there's existing berms, and these berms make an excellent opportunity to create new seating opportunities. So for any spectators, these would be accessible, and they would be reached through, again, a new ADA accessible pathway that goes north to south. So this really transforms the northern part of the site. It is accessible. It is, I like to go back to our vision. It's accessible, it's inclusive, and it connects. It is now an interconnected and central part has now been brought into the rest of the site. It's not sitting on its own in the northern country land. And as you move south, that new parking area, you come to what we're calling the central lawn. That would feature a brand new playground area. This would be what we call universal design, so it would include elements for all ages. And some of these new playgrounds are absolutely amazing, that they can accommodate really anyone of any age. And that would be, again, visible from the Little League area, but also from the central lawn that includes a series of interconnected walking pathways around a new pavilion. So the idea of this new pavilion, and some of the comments we did receive are, why do we need to? We already have one. We do already have one, and the idea is that the existing one would be renovated and repainted and brought up to, I say, its former glory. But this new one is intended to be, again, on this central lawn, and be able to also have public restrooms available, because there was an increased demand for public restrooms. And it would also, the way that it's oriented to the north-south, really be able to accommodate larger crowds. And that's the reality, is that this is now creating a community space that's no longer just the town hall. And so being able to accommodate those, especially away from Titus Avenue where there is traffic, where there is noise, this is a place now that you can come, listen to concerts, kids can run around in a really safe place. And this central lawn and this new pavilion are really the spine, and that spine continues down through the open air permanent market that could be used for any event. And the idea is that this building, and please don't misquote me here, I am not an architect, but the idea is that this would be one of these very new modern buildings that would fit in with the architectural character of the site, being in a glass format with doors that could open and close. So it could be an open air market in the summer or a closed, heated, insulated space in the off-season months. And it would visually be, you could see kind of through it, so that it's not cut off, but yet a really integral part of the site, the central part of the site. And so this would then have a pathway that would lead south through a new reconfigured parking area that would leave the communications tower in place where it is. We understand, and this was, we held many conversations about this, but the reality is that this communications tower is at a very important site for communications in the town and probably the county, and so moving it would require probably a lot of, I would say probably a lot of capital, but also it may not be effective, and it needs to be. It's for safety and security, and so we found that if we can make a workaround, we're going to, and we found that it's in its current site is actually probably the best space for it. When you go out there, not many people, when you're standing in the parking lot, look up, but you do look out. And if you were to move it at any other point, you might actually notice it more. And so when we got through the design process, we found that where it is and integrating it now into the parking area is probably the highest and best use. And it really did work out pretty well in the overall design. So we created new parking, reconfigured the parking lots so that they have clean sight lines and safe sight lines for anybody that is walking. We created a new central green space that has seating, particularly for anyone. That can be a little bit of a walk from the parking lot to the buildings. And so we created some seating area there, and that could also be used for programs. The renovated Brockway garage, so the idea here is that part of this garage would remain in place. We understand that in its current form, it is used for, as part of the police department, and some of those uses simply cannot move right now. So what we did is we kept part of it in its current form. That would then be architecturally redesigned to match the character of the rest of the site. But it actually does work in its current form. And so again, a renovation of that would result. To the north of that, as part of the police operations, we had a lot of discussion about the impound lot and the need for it to stay with the police department. And so what we've done here is we gated off the entrance that is currently there, and then we created a really strong vegetative buffer. So the idea here is to screen it rather than try to move it. And the way that we have it configured in the master plan, this would work really well, especially if we had a very dense coniferous, as well as native plantings. Again, it would be buffered and screened that many people probably wouldn't even notice. As you move south, you'll notice one of the biggest changes here is the reconfiguration of Columbus Way. And this is, we understand, one of the most dangerous areas when you're driving in. And so we paid a lot of attention to the sight lines. We added new walking pathways on both sides. And we also started to integrate the incredible historic assets that we have on the site here and brought those back in and made them really a central feature of this west lawn. One other thing that we really like to point out is the opportunity to develop a trail system on the remainder of the site. This, we have the cabin, and I know the Conservation Board members talked quite a bit about this. We have this beautiful, incredibly dense wooded area to the west side of the site, and so what an opportunity to really develop a nice nature trail system in there. And so that's what these lighter lines off to the west side reflect. So overall, I know there were details that I was probably missing and glossed over, but this really, again, is, I think, a master plan that reflects as much of the community input as we possibly could. The feedback was incredible. The community was so excited, and it was really a pleasure reading through survey results, which I can't always say is the case. But again, just working with the advisory committee, with the council members, it's really been a fantastic process, and I'm really excited to see this come through and get built and implemented, and really a tremendous asset that most communities can't say that they have. So I would highly recommend accepting the master plan and moving through to full design.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and we'll have a Q&A after we gavel in. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Nice
Thank you very much. Nice work.
Nice work by you and your team.
I have extra copies.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Here you
nice
go.
one. Thank you.
Yes, I'm
Welcome to the town board meeting on October 19th, 2021. If all the visitors are invited to join the board members for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Councilwoman Freeman.
Present.
Councilman Perdicone.
Here.
Councilwoman Romeo.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
I do have a couple of announcements that I would like to make. One is, obviously, on this coming Saturday, October 23rd to October 31st, there's early voting. The location is going to be our library in the town of Arundequoit. That's the only location in the town of Arundequoit. For times, you can go to the monroecounty.gov elections early voting for information, and they'll set you up with the times and everything. But it starts this Saturday, the 23rd, and it will be going through the 31st of October. The other thing is, obviously, Election Day is November 2nd. Check, because around town, I know from my experience and what I'm going to have to do is they've changed some polling sites this year. So if you don't already know, if you think you're going to where you usually go, that may have changed. So check on that as well, too, to make sure you are going to the right polling spot for the day of the election, which is November 2nd. The other thing I have is this coming Saturday, Bob Kiley, the Commissioner of Public Works, Aaron, the Deputy Commissioner, they're going to have an open house at the Arundequoit Public Works facility that is located at 2629 East Ridge Road, and it is from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. So please feel free to go there and see the facility and talk to all our DPW employees that are over there for the open house. So that'll be good. With that, I'm going to get the public input. Okay, thank you. Now, the public input, usually it's 3 minutes, please. So I'll read off the names, and if someone does figure they want to come up afterwards, you're more than welcome, okay? You have to state your name and your address, and we will bring you up. First up is Quentin. Is it Ann?
It's close. It's Aaron.
Aaron, I'm sorry. Aaron, just state your name and your address, please. Thank you.
Aaron Quintero, 63 Mount Airy Drive. Good evening, members of the town board, and to all Arundequoit citizens present. If you are lucky, among all of the people you know, you can name that one friend. The one who is first to volunteer when you need some help. The one who almost always says yes when you float an idea. The one who typically considers you and your best interests as well as their own. Now, if you are wise, you understand the value of this friendship in your life. You nurture it. You express your gratitude. You understand that you're better together as a team. It's similar to town living. Town leaders like yourself will offer support when its citizens present a need. Will listen earnestly when people like I come to speak. Will typically consider the citizens' best interest as well as their own. You understand the value in partnership between town board members and citizens at large. You nurture it. You understand that you're better together as a team. That's what brings me here to this podium, in the spirit of partnership. At this point in Arundequoit's progression, as I see it, these 48 years, while we await upcoming elections in 2 weeks, and while we function with an acting town supervisor, I urge you to proceed in the spirit of partnership yourself. I first came to speak to this board around 10 years ago when the I-Square project was in its infancy, and then again 4 years later when rigid thinking, as I see it, threatened its development. In recent years, we've seen I-Square flourish. No one can argue against its success and popularity. We've also welcomed a new library, most recently our new community center, and thanks to what I heard tonight, we look forward to development of our main campus. These are noticeable improvements to the offerings and landscape of our town. You and the leaders before you have listened to your constituents, you've responded to, you've anticipated our needs. I appreciate that that's an intricate and tedious process. What has brought me specifically here tonight is concern and frustration that the members of this town board and possibly your counterparts on the planning board may be regressing, even temporarily, into rigid thinking and possibly power play dynamics when it comes specifically to Mike Nolan. Though unique and wonderful, Irondequoit cannot bear such an attitude, even for a brief time. In case you are unaware, Mike Nolan hosts charity events on his campus, lends equipment to town organizations, like the class of 2025 at Irondequoit High School, which I advise, publicists town happenings, gives us cause to come together. No matter your politics or your personality, you really can't dispute that Mike's vision has been good for Irondequoit. That has to afford him something. It has to afford him our gratitude, our patience, our encouragement, and our trust. I want to remind you that the citizens of Irondequoit require that you do your level best to encourage Irondequoit's growth and refinement. We have a long way to go to earn the reputation we claim as Irondequoit, the town for a lifetime. If you're lucky, you can name that one friend. If you're wise, you understand the value of this friendship. Mike Nolan has proven himself a true friend of Irondequoit in every sense of the word, and he has earned better. Thank you.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. Next up, Jim.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Jim Tappan. I live at 197 Deerfield Drive. I'm excited to live in Irondequoit. I've been here for almost 50 years, and I'm happy to come here tonight to just talk to you about the fact that we've got a group now called Color Irondequoit Green. There's in the Rochester and Finger Lakes area, there's a large organization of climate movement under Climate Solutions Accelerator. And in about the last year and a half, there have been some small community groups that have started up, forming up, to help the towns to actually move forward on climate actions. New York State has some great opportunities with clean energy communities and climate smart communities that provide financing to the towns to do climate energy saving and fossil fuel reduction. I just wanted to just say that we are here to help this board to identify things and to assist you in any way that we can to try to make Irondequoit greener. So thank you very much for all that you've done.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Andrea Porter.
Hi, I'm Andrea Porter, 2674 St. Paul Boulevard, and also connected to the Color Irondequoit Green. And I stepped back and looked at the great things the town has done, the library, the supporting of I-Square and all of Mike Nolan. The new community center, I attended, I think the first group, the implicit bias group before it closed down. I also attended the plans A and B of our upcoming town campus. So many great things happening, and just wanting to make sure that the town, as we move forward, we are supportive of things such as Mike Nolan, as we are supportive of things such as our land between waters, of stormwater, of native plants, I mean, it's a time where climate is key, and everything that we do moving forward, that we really have that big open vision to look at all that as we move forward, and we make sure we connect to experts on all those to include them in decision making. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Good evening. My name is Alex Worth. I live at 7 Ontario View Street. I think I'll dovetail into Aaron and Andrea's and Jim's comments already. And firstly, I'll recognize the board with the fact that I understand that it's noticeably probably a thankless job most of the time, and you spend a lot of time in meetings and engaging with people. And we really appreciate all the hard work that you do. And I want these comments to be construed as something as constructive feedback, not necessarily just coming up and complaining. We've been trying to figure out the best way to, I guess, address how the ARPA money is being spent. And I feel like the level of community engagement the town has engaged so far has been lackluster, I guess I would say. The county, the city, Pittsburgh, Geneva, they're all doing multiple sessions of public engagement and feedback in person. And I really think that with this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of $22 million, we could really do better as far as engaging the public and making sure that the money is being spent wisely and is looking at everything from a holistic standpoint. Color Irondequoit Green, I think, touched on some of that with making sure that the voices of different social and environmental issues are brought to the table. So I'd really love to ask the board to reconsider what their public engagement process is going to be for the remainder of the money, and also for the items that are presented tonight that you have under resolution. And here's the thing, is that all of these ideas might be the most well thought out, logical, and smart ways to use that money, but we just wouldn't know because the residents have largely been in the dark, with exception to one online survey that, we're not really sure how many people that reached. So, and again, I'll end by saying thank you for all of your time and effort as town board members. I realize it's a big undertaking. Thank you.
Okay, Alex, thank you. Irene? Hi.
I'm Irene Doctor. I live at 11 Salem Road and have been there for 31 years. I'm just putting in my last couple words before you vote on the Burn Dairy special use permit. And I was just looking through some notes. There's a lot of people who have attended meetings, sent letters, tried to have our voice heard. Just a reminder that after the July 26th Planning Board meeting, that the town board referral was that the board offered a negative referral for a 24-hour operation of a gasoline fueling facility based on two things: location of residential neighborhood and curb cut into the neighborhood street. You obviously know that, but this has been going on for a while, so just reminding you that the planning board actually recommended not to go forward. And then at the last planning board meeting, they had asked the Burn Dairy to come back with more information regarding the curb cut and why it was needed, potentially changing that. I had actually emailed Christian Brunel prior to August 4th, just asking some questions like at the very beginning of this. And one of my questions was, is it necessary to have an entrance or exit onto Ridgewood? And his reply was yes. Project is not economically feasible with only one curb cut. So, obviously it's part of the plan. That is one of the biggest issues that we have amongst many others that you've heard. So just restating, and then again, just reiterating that we don't need anything that runs 24 hours at that corner. We know that there are traffic issues, and I guess I would ask that the board and the town look more globally at this site and basically rezone it so that nothing can ever operate there 24 hours and that there's never a curb cut onto Ridgewood.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to address the board? Anyone?
Are we supposed to speak up now, like, not after anybody puts their case up?
Do you have just public input? Yeah, you can come up. Sure.
What are they here for, Burn Dairy?
The public hearing is closed.
The public hearing's closed, so if you have we don't have a public hearing, but if you have public input, you have 3 minutes. Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know about Irondequoit, color Irondequoit green. I would have contacted Jim a long time ago because.
Okay, yeah, can you state your name and address? I'm sorry.
Sandy Orem, 20 Salem Road. I would have contacted Jim a long time ago because on 2180 Eastridge Road, where Burn Dairy wants to put this gas station, we have 14 gas stations within a 2-mile radius of that, and that is not in sync with our our planet is on fire. Do we need another gas station? I mean, everything's going green. Do you really want this Irondequoit, welcome to Irondequoit, the town of gas stations? And I think that there's a lot of things connected with that. And the whole thing also is, what kind of crowds are you going to attract? Anything like that attracts crowds. Also, Ridgewood is a very quaint street. I walked by Bucart today, which he brings up. It's a double yellow, which he compares to this gas station in a residential area. And if you put a curb cut onto this small residential street, we don't even have a line dividing anything. I think that when Burn Dairy bought this plot of land, they bought it knowing that there's one entrance exit onto East Ridge Road. There's no curb cut onto Ridgewood. So they need to deal with it. They need to figure out how they are going to put another exit onto East Ridge Road without ruining our neighborhood. It just doesn't work for our neighborhood. And a lot of people have ideas, like moving a stoplight a little bit further. Another person on the planning board said people on West Ridge Road have a median, and those businesses don't have a side street, and they still make it work. So there's a lot of things, but they bought that knowing. And they didn't even think about the residents. It was just money, money, money. And that is horrible, you know. I mean, it's just really sad. So I just want to say that.
Okay, Sandy, thank you. Anybody else want to address the board? Sure, come on up, state your name and address, please.
Hi, Patty Burke, 122 Worthington Road. Just quickly, looking for a little clarification about the hours of operation for the gas station. Is that something that's been decided, has not been decided? We were led to believe this is where this gets brought up, which I kind of felt like maybe didn't get brought up in previous board meetings.
Okay, well, there's no, we're going to have a resolution coming up tonight, so you'll see that all be addressed.
All right, and the other, I know, you're talking about a permit for gas stations, but I'm just, again, remiss, I think we're remiss to point out how's the gas going to get there. That's an issue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Patty. Anyone else would want to address the board? Name and address, please.
Laura Akins, 125 Worthington Road. I spoke at this meeting and also at the planning board meeting about my concerns regarding the gas pumps and the pollution. I would just like to quote a couple different studies for each of the kinds of pollution. So when it comes to light pollution, it's a major environmental and health problem known to be associated with depression, insomnia, and other health disorders in humans. Noise pollution has effects including a decreased sleep quality and quantity, increased annoyance, stress, and distraction, and a temporary change in hearing, as well as chronic effects such as hypertension, reduced learning and productivity, and endocrine disruption. Water and soil pollution. Gasoline contains the chemical benzene. Benzene has been recognized as a toxic chemical capable of causing both acute and chronic poisoning. Chronic effects center on the blood-forming system and lead to the possible induction of leukemia, a major concern. Also, the magnitude of exposure is greatest for those individually exposed to benzene. However, a far greater number of individuals are exposed as a result of benzene released from gasoline filling stations. Air pollution, so it's known to release volatile organic compounds and other reactive toxins, again including benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, xylenes, and hexane into the air. According to a 2008 study, gas station workers had higher levels of volatile organic compounds in their bodies than their counterparts who worked in an office. These gas station workers had, quote, an elevated lifetime cancer risk ranging from 53 to 630 per million, thus exceeding the normal risk of 1 per million. I believe that those are pretty substantial risk factors, and I would rather you consider our opposition to the gas station on the corner of our neighborhood. If you need any of the sources that I cite, I'm happy to give you a copy of this.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else want to address the board? Your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Lauren Sharp. I live at 39 Ridgewood Drive. That's 4 houses down from Walgreens. And as Laura was just saying, obviously allowing gas pumps would bring an enormous amount of pollution into our neighborhood. There's legislation out there as to how close a gas pump can be in regards to schools. My children, I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. They're not going to have a choice over this. And if you guys, I'm sorry, my 3-year-old's hitting her sleep progression. I haven't slept in a week. But if you guys approve this tonight, you're basically forcing me to move and you're putting my children in danger. Thank you.
Anyone else? Public input? Address the board? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Appreciate it. Okay, Barb.
Financial report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The 2021 financial results as of September 30th. 75% of the year has elapsed and the town's total expenses, actual expenditures, and encumbrances of $26,149,000 are lower than budget at 67.9%. Actual expenses are $23,355,000 or 60.7% of budget, and encumbrances are $2,795,000 or 7.3% of budget. Typically, encumbrances are still sizable at this point in the year as departments continue to commit to services, supplies, and commodities that will be needed for the remainder of the year. The general fund total expenses of $16,008,000 are below budget at 67.4%. The actual expenditures total $14,636,000 or 61.6% of budget, and encumbrances are $1,372,000 or 5.8% of budget. Overall, the total expenses of the 3 highway funds are $4,132,000 or 73% of budget, below the 75% of the year that has elapsed. Actual expenditures are $3,066,000 or 54.1% of budget, and encumbrances total $1,066,000 or 18.8% of budget. These costs continue to be driven by considerable expenses and encumbrances for gas, fuel, road salt, equipment parts, and road paving. Library expenditures are lower than budget at 67.9%, a year-to-date total of $1,818,000. Expenses in the sewer fund of $2,845,000 are below budget at 68.4%. Actual expenditures are $2,674,000 or 64.3% of budget, and encumbrances total $171,000 or 4.1% of budget. Stormwater drainage expenses are approximately 50.9% of budget, a total of $476,000. The general fund has received revenue of $17,982,000 or 80.1% of budget. Real estate tax of $11,800,000 has been collected. 101% of payment in lieu of tax revenue of $269,000 is in. The town has recorded 5 months of sales tax revenue in the amount of $2,572,000 or 54% of budget. Mortgage tax for the first quarter of $271,000 has been received. That represents 30.2% of budget. Aid and incentives to municipality revenue of $613,000 is scheduled for payment in December. Regarding the entire town, $30,949,000 or 83.8% of revenue and appropriated fund balance has been received to date. Approximately $18,135,000 is from real estate tax. At month end, the library has confirmed revenue of $2,605,000, or 98.5% of budget. 83.4%, or $4,649,000 of revenue has been received by the highway funds. 99.7% of sewer fund revenue, or $4,068,000, has been received. Stormwater drainage has verified 97.4% of its budgeted revenue at $868,000. Page 3 of this report presents third quarter year-to-date summary in comparison to the prior 6 years. As a reminder, the 2017 percentages include fire-related activity. Regarding expenditures by fund, which are shown on the top third of the page, the overall 67.9% of the budget spent and encumbered is similar to prior years. The middle third of the page contains the pertinent sources of revenue for the general fund, and the bottom third of the page allows for revenue comparisons of other funds. The last line reflects the bottom line collective revenue and appropriated fund balance for the town. The 2021 general fund revenue reflects 80.1% of budget received to date, which is higher than the prior 2 years. The third quarter of 2019 revenue was lower than prior years as aid and incentives to municipalities, state aid payment was rescheduled from September to December, and the 2020 revenue was reduced as a result of the COVID pandemic. The revenue and appropriated fund balance for the town as a whole is 83.8%, which represents an increase from the prior 2 years. The highway and sewer funds are performing on par with prior years, while the drainage fund lags behind prior years, resulting from the timing of equipment sales. In addition to the operating revenue discussed above, American Rescue funds of $11,227,000 were received in May. The use of this funding is restricted for the response to and relief of COVID-19 and can be used to cover costs incurred through December 31st, 2024. A special revenue fund has been established to account for these funds. This concludes the financial report for the month of September 2021.
Motion to accept the financial report.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Approval of minutes, August 10, 2021, workshop meeting.
These are tabled from September's meeting, so I have a motion on August 10th.
Moved.
Second? I'll second. Up for discussion?
Are we doing the amendment?
You have
I have an amendment. Yes. I make a motion that the amendment that has been handed to the town board in writing be approved, be voted on and approved.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for the amendment. Is there a second? No second. Motion denied. I have a motion on the floor for the August 10th meeting as they are
Point of question.
read.
Point of question. Can the amendments be read out?
The proposed amendments can be read out.
Okay, thank you. All right, the amendments are as follow. Amendment 1. After question 1, the following statement said by Councilwoman Kimmy Grosvenor needs to be added to said minutes as follow. Residents have submitted FOIA requests to iCare to get this information and was told they couldn't. Amendment number 2. Immediately after Councilwoman Romeo asks her second of 2 questions, the following reply from me, Councilwoman Katrina Freeman, needs to be recorded in the minutes as follows. These 2 questions presented today after the iCare Commission, about the iCare Commission, were both asked by Ms. Romeo and answered by me during a presentation on iCare, one in which she pressed the supervisor, the supervisor and Dave Seeley for, held at the town board workshop dated Tuesday, August 8th, 2021, and Amendment 3. What is now recorded in the minutes as question number 3 was not one of the 2 questions Councilwoman Romeo asked at the time. In fact, only part of what is recorded was actually part of a response she gave to my above statement. The minutes should reflect that fact. Therefore, 2 actions will be needed to be taken to carry out this amendment. They are as follows. What was previously listed as question 3 needs to be removed in its entirety. And 2, and it immediately following that statement in Amendment 2, Mrs. Romeo actual use of the words recorded in said question needs to be added as follows. Don't the taxpayers of Arundecoit deserve to know what they are paying for with eye care?
Okay, there's a motion.
What are we motioning?
So do we have I think we're still on Petrina's motion.
Right, we have a motion.
Do we have a second?
For amendment.
Wait a second.
Is there a second?
So is she just adding something to the meeting minutes of this meeting?
August 10th.
All right.
Okay, I got a motion. I don't have a second. So the amendment to those minutes does not pass. Now I have a motion on the August 10th minutes as written. I have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Pete?
Said aye.
Aye. Okay.
The nays? You can ask for nays or abstention.
Motion passes on August 10th meetings as written.
Barb, I voted no. Thank you.
Okay. September 8, 2021, the workshop meeting.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Questions?
Question?
At
Comments?
the workshop, I asked for an amendment to be added to this, to section 150 of the minutes for September 8th, 2021. The resolution to establish a salary for the deputy supervisor during periods of vacancy in the office of the supervisor. The amendment, it needs to be added to the request that I asked it to be retroactive salary. That is not reflected in the current minutes.
So we need a motion on that amendment. Do we have a motion on that amendment?
I moved.
Move. Second?
I remember that. I seconded it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Amendment does pass. Okay, now we have September 8th motion on the floor. I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
September 14, 2021, the regular town board meeting.
I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Okay. The appointments. Item number 1, authorizing the permanent appointment of a code compliance coordinator in the Community Development Department.
Carrie, comments?
I know Jason was ready to speak.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm going to jump in
Okay,
because,
Then,
as you will recall, Mary Werner was appointed provisionally to the title of Code Compliance Coordinator. Since then, she has taken the exam, and I am very pleased to recommend that she be placed permanently in this position. I can speak very highly on Mary's work and the efforts that she does for the town of Arundecoit, and I'm really happy to advance this resolution.
Jason?
I think Carrie covered it, but I do know that Mary Werner's in the room, and I congratulate her as well.
Okay, I want to make a comment about Mary. I see her around here all the time, and she does a very great job keeping our residents under wraps, and we all appreciate her hard work. So I have a motion on the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Mary, come on, you got to stand up. We got to give you a little clap. All right, thank you.
Item number 2, authorizing the appointment of a part-time office clerk to the Assessor's Department.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Amy?
Thank you, Mr.
She is
Supervisor.
back there. Oh, we got a broken mic?
There you go.
Here we go.
Supervisor. So this is for our part-time clerk position. We're looking forward to, we did interview for the position and selected a highly qualified candidate. Comes to us with a lot of customer service experience, Linda Marciano. We're looking forward to getting her started.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So carried.
Item number 3, authorizing the appointment of an Arundecoit police officer to sergeant in the Arundecoit Police Department.
Moved.
I have a motion. Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief, you wanna, I know these, the next 4, I believe, correct? Okay. Is that mic working? Yep. Okay.
All right, the first resolution that is in front of the board tonight is to offer the name of Andrew Wigden, who's currently one of our investigators, to the rank of police sergeant.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Barb?
Item number 4, authorizing the appointment of a second Arundecoit police officer to a sergeant in the Arundecoit Police Department.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Chief?
Thank you. The second candidate being presented to the town board tonight for promotion to the rank of sergeant is Officer Kylie Nichols.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 5, authorizing the appointment of a third Arundecoit police officer to a sergeant in the Arundecoit Police Department.
I have a motion,
Moved.
I have a second.
Second.
I'm abstaining from this resolution. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The third candidate being presented to the town board for promotion to the rank of sergeant within the Arundecoit Police Department is Officer Dominic Pronti.
Okay, there's a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Item number 6, authorizing the appointment of a fourth Arundecoit police officer to a sergeant in the Arundecoit Police Department.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Chief?
Thank you. And the fourth officer being presented to the town board tonight for promotion to the rank of sergeant is Officer Joseph Kuhn.
Okay, there's a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. I just want to, on behalf of the town board, congratulate all our officers that got promoted to sergeant. You got it? Come on, stand up, say hello. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's good to see our officers getting promoted and get appreciated for all their hard work. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Barb?
Item number 7, authorizing the reinstatement of a police officer into the Arundecoit Police Department.
Have a motion.
Moved.
Second.
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 Chief?
Yeah, this resolution would allow for Joshua Greenfield, who was an officer with the Arundecoit Police Department up until November of last year. He left the agency to go to another agency, but has reached out and would like to come back to the Arundecoit Police Department. He is a certified police officer, and he was interviewed by the command staff, and they all resoundingly wish to bring Officer Greenfield back to the Arundecoit Police Department.
Okay, very good. I have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 8, authorizing the appointment of 3 part-time employees for the Arundecoit Community Center.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Katrina?
Sure. Yes, so this resolution brings forward names of individuals we'd like to bring on part-time, specifically in our tot drop at the new community center to work with young children, 6 months to 6 years of age. while their parents or guardians utilize the facility. So, and we'd like them to start training as soon as possible.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Item number 9, regarding State Environmental Quality Review Act compliance regarding a special use permit to operate a gasoline service station at 2180 East Ridge Road in a C Business District.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Carrie, want to explain?
I certainly can. So this is the seeker analysis associated with the special use permit action. It's an unlisted action for seeker. And in looking at the environmental impacts associated, it's for the special use permit associated with the operation of gasoline pumps. So we looked at proposed or potential impacts to land use and community character. The proposed action would allow for the development of gas station facility as part of the development, which also includes a convenience store. The intensity of land use associated with this type of development is consistent with other parcels along the corridor and in proximity to the proposed site. The proposed site was formerly operated by and used as a public library with a building and parking. From 2016 through 2020, the vacated library was used as a temporary Department of Public Works facility while the new DPW campus was being developed. The use of the site included occupancy of the building and parking of a wide range of DPW vehicles and equipment. As you all know, the site was needed for that use in response to for various activities throughout the 24-hour cycle for snow events and other emergency calls. Moreover, the gas pumps are going to be located near the commercial corridor and far from the residents to the north, with the retail facility serving as a buffer. When we look at the guidance that New York State DEC provides and what we have to analyze as far as impact, we have to look at the fact that this is a primary corridor, commercial corridor for the town. We also look at the comprehensive master plan, and that's what DEC guidance tells us we need to do. In the future land use chapter of the comprehensive plan, the following is provided: prioritize redevelopment and reinvestment that strengthens the town's tax base, and accommodating an increase in building area along the corridor means that the intensity of land use must be increased. When we look at the analysis that DEC provides in guidance, we find that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the underlying zoning, and therefore not associated with a large or significant adverse environmental impact. There's no water proximity or New York State regulated water bodies nearby. With a potential impact to land, most of that is mitigated through the stormwater pollution prevention program planning that needs to be done. The site must comply with New York State stormwater regulations as part of the development, and so any potential impacts to land will be mitigated both during construction and then also post-construction as well. When we looked at the impacts to traffic, there is a traffic analysis prepared by GTC Consulting that was reviewed by Monroe County DOT. That's the Department of Transportation, the town's engineer, and the Commissioner of Public Works. The findings of the study indicate that no mitigation related to traffic will be needed to accommodate the development of the gas station. The location of the gas pumps and underground tanks will minimize impacts to neighboring properties, and truck traffic on the town road, on Ridge Road, would be limited by both signage from the site, and also the Commissioner of Public Works can impose truck traffic limitations north of that entrance. We look at potential impacts to utilities. The site is well served by all public utilities, so therefore there are no large or moderate impacts, and for that reason we're recommending a negative declaration for the purposes of seeker.
Okay, any questions or comments?
What's the status before the planning board currently?
The application is still under review. Workshop was conducted last night. They will be continuing the application at next Monday's meeting.
Thank you.
So point of clarification from the town attorney, this in front of us that we're voting on is just a negative dec for seeker.
That's exactly right. It's a negative declaration for the issuance of the special use permit.
Commissioner Kiley, what kind of conditions were on Ridge on the road next to, we're gonna put a weight limit, what's it gonna be that you're thinking?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. That is one of the concepts being discussed, especially if there is a curb cut, which would be in the general vicinity, directly opposite the Walgreens curb cut, from my understanding. We would ensure that there is a weight restriction on the road to ensure that heavy truck traffic, be it delivery vehicles, offloading materials, tractor trailers, anything like that, would not have the authorization to utilize the side streets. This is something that's occurred on several other side streets in town, which we would impose those restrictions to eliminate that truck and trailer traffic specifically.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? So I have a motion and I have a second on the floor to adopt the seeker. Right? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed? One opposed, so carried.
Item number 10, approving a special use permit for 2180 East Ridge Road in a C Business District.
I have a motion.
Move.
I have a second?
Second.
Comments? Carrie?
As discussed, the only portion of the development that's subject to the special use permit is the gasoline pumps pursuant to town code.
Any comments?
I mean, I will say we have a revised site plan before us at, I think addresses a number of the concerns that are brought before the planning board, and I would encourage the public to continue their dialogue with the planning board.
Okay, I got a motion and a second on the floor to approve the special use permit for the gas pumps at the Burn Dairy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries.
Item number 11, authorizing a spending plan for American Rescue Plan Act funding.
I have a motion.
Moved?
Second?
Second.
Diana?
Thank you. This resolution would authorize a spending plan for a portion of the American Rescue Plan funding that was received by the town earlier this year. The proposed projects are outlined in Exhibit A.
Okay, any comments?
Yeah, I actually have a comment. One, I was wondering if these pieces will not be voted on separately, but it's
No.
been rolled together.
Right.
Okay. My only concern with this is that we have not had, as mentioned earlier in the public input, we have not had a process in which the community can adequately have time to look at these resolutions, the resolution and particularly the projects that we're putting forth. And so I would urge my fellow colleagues to reconsider passing this today.
Well, Pete, anything?
No.
No. I just want to make a comment that I sent a letter to the board. I think there was a lot of surveys going out. This is a small percentage of our money. I believe that these are some of the projects that I would like to see get up front and get out in the open and get going as soon as we can. They've all been approved by our Bonadil group. If that's something we want to do going forward with the rest, they have a lot of public input on the remainder of the money. If that's something we'd like to do.
I think that
You know.
your point is well taken, that, we have a certain period that we need to spend this money, and I think that I don't want to call it low-hanging fruit, but this is some stuff that really needs to be implemented and take some time to implement.
Yep.
Including the hiring of 3 additional police officers, which I think is vitally important and something that the police and the public have been asking for, repeatedly. And I think the comment from the audience today is well taken, and I think that we can institute some additional study on the remaining half of the money that we're here, slated to receive. And, a lot of these funds, are estimates, and they're probably overestimates to a certain extent, and that, I think that that's better to have a higher bar that we're looking at rather than something lower and then amending it in other ways. But, this is investments in infrastructure, It's investments in the police department, it's investment in the employees here at Town Hall, and the services that we offer the public, and I think it's important to start this as soon as we can, and there's, I don't want to say there's plenty of time to study, I think that there's ample opportunity to study that future funding as we receive the second half of that.
I have a
And I
quick
just
question.
want, and I
Quick
just,
question
go ahead.
for Andrew. Just knowing that there is an election, so there will be a change in administration. Will this, with the vote today, if it turns to be favorable, will this bind them to having to perform these things, or can they reconsider a piece of these?
It depends on whether the contracts for these projects are executed before the new board takes office. So there's this concept called the term limits rule in New York State. It means that one board can't bind future boards in matters of governance, but they can bind future boards in matters of property. So I guess the question is, it depends. If the board, let's say 4 months from now, voted to rescind any of these projects, that would of course undo the vote. And
Okay. Thank you, and I want to make one more comment. The public input that was getting on this was only on June. It went out through Facebook. It was not on our website, and it was for June 9th, and then it went out again June 15th. I just think we need to consider input from the public, and that they will have input on the final projects. And I hope we would do that moving forward, because we need to represent their needs and their concerns. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other comments? As opposed to future boards, I'm going to just go out on a limb here that I'm going to be here after January 1st, and I'm going to fully support what's in front of me right now going forward. So, if so be it, but this is something, I think Pete made it worthwhile, that this is something that needs to be going. And going in the future, I think it's taken that we will try to get some input. But there was a survey, and we did, in fact, some of the survey things did make the list on here. So this is a small percentage of the list in general, and there's still more to come. So there's a motion on the floor and a second to approve the resolution as put forward. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay. I vote nay.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Item number 12, calling of a public hearing concerning the 2022 preliminary budget.
Motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I just want to make a comment about the budget and our ARP funds. I want to give a good shout out to all the department heads and Diana for doing all the work on both. I don't know how she does it all, but thank you all for your input on the budget. We will, starting tomorrow night, we are going to have our budget hearings tomorrow and Thursday night. Some of the departments come in tomorrow night, and some will be here on Thursday night. So thank you for that, everyone's input. I really, really appreciate your help.
Mr. Supervisor, may I ask a question?
Yep.
Are those open public meetings, sir?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Yes, they are. Okay, Barb?
Ready?
Yep.
Item number 13, authorizing funds transfer.
Motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item 14, implementing GASB 84.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 15, approving the 2022 holiday schedule for all Town of Arundequoit employees.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments?
My only comment is that I hope that in the future, we will include both this, recognizing Juneteenth with our contract negotiations with the employees. It was recognized by the state this past October, and it was recognized by the federal government as a holiday on June 17th of this year. I think it was something that will show not only that we celebrate and we honor the contributions of African Americans, but that we are trying to be a more equitable town.
Okay, so noted. All in favor?
I agree with Katrina also.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
Item number 16, authorizing intermunicipal agreement for cable access television with East Arundecoit Central School District.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments? Andrew, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, Mr. Deputy Supervisor, this resolution embodies an initiative by Mike Moss and ICAT. So a few months ago, the town authorized the procurement of equipment to allow the live streaming of town board events through the use of equipment called iBoxes. Basically, that lets you broadcast from any location if you have the box. So there was some interest among the school districts in televising their proceedings and piggybacking on ICAT. This is the first of hopefully several agreements by which the school districts can broadcast on ICAT.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
Item number 17, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the town and the Nightstick Club PBA.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments? Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution before the board is to allow for an amendment to the current collective bargaining agreement in regards to health care for transfer officers. This would allow transfer officers who complete 10 years of service with the town, in addition to their 20 years of service in the police and fire retirement system. Once they retire, they'd be eligible for health care benefits through the town of Arundecoit.
Okay, any comments?
I have a point of question for.
Sure.
So I understand that the current agreement that we have was placed in effect in 2019. How many officers will that affect?
We've had one transfer since the last collective bargaining agreement went into place. This is for the future transfer officers and an attempt to fill vacancies.
So will it grandfather in that one officer?
Yes, it will.
Okay. The other question I have is actually for Jason. Will we have to look at this for other unions?
We're not obligated to. This is simply to assist us with recruiting in the police department at this time.
And my understanding is this only applies to transfer and not to new recruits.
That's correct.
And this measure of waiting for 20 years was done as a cost-saving measure, hopefully for the town. Is that correct?
That was the intent at the bargaining table. Unfortunately, it has been a roadblock for recruiting.
But that's only recruiting for transfers and not recruiting of new.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? I got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So
No,
carried.
a no vote for me.
Resolution is adopted.
Item number 18, authorizing attendance to the New York State Association of Chiefs of Police, New York State Sheriff's Association 2021 Leadership Summit.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution before the town board will allow the chief of police to attend a training session in Lake George, New York, that's being put on by the New York State Chiefs of Police Association, as well as a joint presentation with the New York State Sheriff's Association. It is a budgeted item in the 2021 Police Department budget.
Okay, I got a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carries.
Item number 19, authorizing attendance to Safari Land's Monanook Expandable Baton Instructor Course.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Chief?
Thank you. This resolution before the board would allow for Investigator Lape and Officer K to attend the Monadnock Instructor Course. as we transition from the side handle batons to the expandable batons to be in compliance with all the other, in line, I should say, with all the other agencies within Monroe County.
Okay. I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 20, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a commencement date agreement with Skyview Phase 1 LLC.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Kylie.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The resolution before the board this evening authorizes the supervisor to execute the commencement date agreement with Skyview Phase 1 LLC. Pursuant to our lease, we have to send written notification to the landlord, which is the owner of the Skyview on the Ridge project. As this board well knows and the general public knows, the town is a tenant within the former mall space. This commencement agreement sets forth the usable square footage at 41,339 feet, and thus establishes the pro rata share of the common area maintenance charges for the building, both the mall and the exterior of the premises.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Item number 21, authorizing the capital improvement program for the town of Arundecoit for 2022 through 2027.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Commissioner Kylie.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The capital improvement program plan for 2022 to 2027 is the reason for the resolution before the board. This officially adopts the five-year plan for the town, which earmarks $600,000 for road stabilization projects located on Seneca Road and Colebrook and Edgewater Drive, as well as $250,000 worth of sidewalk improvements, which are locations varied throughout the town. Within the body of this agenda, there are two resolutions that set forth the bonding procedure for the town for these two projects specifically. Within the CIP, there are many out years, 2023, 24, 25, 26, and 27, all of which are on a schedule for various improvements throughout the town. These two projects in particular, the Seneca Road and Edgewater Colebrook Drive stabilization, utilizes a contractor that we know well here in town from their work for the County of Monroe and their work on several town roadways, be it Pine Grove and Newport. GSI Stabilization Incorporated would be contracted to stabilize a certain section of Seneca Road down by the bay. Now that the water main has been replaced by the Seabreeze Water District, the town would secure a certain section of unstabilized road at that location and at Colebrook and Edgewater, where we are seeing surface delamination due to the roadway settling. As I stated previously, the sidewalk program is a $250,000 bond, $250,000, which would be used to replace broken, damaged, destroyed, heaved, and otherwise in general failed condition sidewalks throughout town. And further, half of that $250,000 allocation would be used to increase ADA accessibility as it comes to warning detectable strips and side slopes for access from town roadways.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, questions? Anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 22, authorizing the supervisor to execute a quitclaim deed for the abandonment of Massasoit Drive.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Mr.
Kylie.
Supervisor. Back in 2013, the town of Arundecoit officially abandoned a certain section of right-of-way which was never developed, Massasoit Drive. In discussion with Monroe County Property downtown, This abandonment, that resolution back in 2013, does not afford the county the opportunity to transfer the property to the adjacent landowner. As such, that landowner has prepared a quitclaim deed, which that paperwork is enough for the County of Monroe to process the transaction of that real property from vacant right-of-way that, as a matter of law, has not been the town's for really quite decades, I would put it that way, as it's never been improved, but now will allow Tim Murphy down in Monroe County Real Property to transfer the ownership of that section of right-of-way to the adjacent landowner. This resolution will likely be followed by many more in the coming months as we seek to clean up a lot of our vacant right-of-ways, and I know Assessor Yorstad is well versed here in these issues, and likely we will be coming to resolutions on a great many of these in the coming months. This is one of many for the future, though.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 23, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act with respect to accepting the dedication of land for highway purposes.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Kiley.
The next two resolutions are both tied together. Both are with regard to the dedication of Baker's Park, a certain section of roadway developed by Mike Nolan and the I-Square project. That roadway, Baker's Park, was constructed to town specifications, and after discussion with the developer, has passed all of the inspection and maintenance items necessary to pursue dedication formally of that section of roadway. The first resolution before the board this evening is a seeker determination with regard to the dedication. This is a paperwork process, as the road has already been constructed. The dedication of Baker's Park is a formality to ensure the long-term permanence of the roadway under the jurisdiction of the town of Arundecoit. The roadway will be used for highway purposes, and the 60-foot right-of-way is sufficient to ensure that all utility agencies in the future can operate within that new section of roadway. The dedication of Baker's is an unlisted action pursuant to seeker and will not create any significant adverse impacts or consequences. As such, the recommendation is a negative declaration shall be filed for the dedication of Baker's Parkway for seeker purposes.
Any comments for seeker? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 24, accepting the dedication of land for highway purposes.
Motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
This resolution formally accepts Baker's Park as a newly dedicated town road to be included in the local highway inventory.
Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So
Great to
carried.
see the town's ongoing support.
Yeah, I know.
Item number 25, authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement for mapping software for the cemetery and authorizing budget transfer.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Aaron? Hey, somebody else, okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would authorize the agreement to enhance the software utilized for the cemetery. It would include an addendum to increase the mapping capability for the software used for our staff as well as general public.
Okay, any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 26, authorizing the purchase of ride-on leaf blower and the budget transfer.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Aaron?
Thank you,
Deputy
Mr. Supervisor.
Commissioner?
This resolution would authorize the purchase of a ride-on leaf blower to increase efficiency for our cemetery staff. This product would be acquired from Admar Construction Equipment and Supplies.
Okay, any questions, comments? I have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 27, authorizing entry into an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Monroe.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Supervisor. I will take this one. This resolution would authorize the intermunicipal agreement with Monroe County Department of Parks. As this board knows and the general public knows, the town of Arundecoit has a great many IMAs with our sister government agencies, from our fire districts to the county DOT to our school districts. This IMA with county parks would allow town of Arundecoit, Department of Public Works staff members to work in county parks on chargeback, similar to how we do chargeback work for the County of Monroe DOT or any of our fire agencies and school districts. This resolution has already been passed by the county legislature, and at the execution of this agreement, the town is already preparing to resurface a section of Wisner Road here in town, which is and has been very much needed for resurfacing for a great many years.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion second. Any comments from the board for Bob? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 28, accepting the recommendations for the Town Hall Master Plan.
I have a motion.
Move.
I have a second.
Second.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Mr.
Kiley.
Supervisor. As discussed during the presentation from EDR, the town has gone through great lengths, and it's a credit to the citizens of Arundecoit for speaking up, relaying to town staff what they are seeking in a redevelopment of the town hall campus. A credit to the great focus groups that we had from our town government employees, discussing pedestrian safety, leaving and coming to conduct business at town hall, to police department focus groups, Little League focus groups, and the recreation and special events focus groups. So we've got a great starting point for a very exciting project here. This has been a tremendous series of years here in town, from the library to the Department of Public Works to the community center, and now we really start to embark a new project here that would seek to redevelop 7 acres that is truly underutilized here on the campus. It's a very exciting resolution, and I'm very pleased to put this before the board this evening.
Okay.
I know that a presentation was made earlier. If there's any questions with regard to that presentation, myself, I can certainly answer from the back, but Jane or any of the EDR team can go before the board at the podium to answer those questions formally.
Okay. First of all, to the EDR team, thank you for your patience, right? I mean, they were good. You got to sit through a board meeting, but thank you. But it's time for questions, comments, anything to EDR team. Great. I think everything's been answered, but we all have everything in front of us. But anybody has any comments to them?
I actually have more of a comment. I want to thank Commissioner Kiley and his team, as well as EDR, for just doing such an amazing job, but also modeling for us a pathway forward of how we partner with the community on doing more initiatives. I was blown away by the presentation. I am blown away by just how you guys really connected with the community and have turned out such a beautiful project. I really appreciate it. I look forward to getting started.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments?
Do you think this project's gonna need a ride-on leaf blower?
Where can I get one?
I want one too.
I didn't even know that existed.
Neither. No, thank you for everything you've done. It's been a great process and a good outcome.
Thank you
Any-
so much.
anything?
No.
My comments too. And the only question I have now, Bob, what's going to be our next move here?
So that really is the next step.
Okay.
So from this project, from this point forward, we now have a master plan that would be adopted by the town board, truly endorsing and embarking on this project. From here, we're going to be soliciting for an architect and engineer. So we will go out to that community to solicit for design development. And once we get to a point, likely in the spring of next year, we will have bid documents that'll go out to contractors for bidding. Once we receive those bids, we would, at the earliest, and this is a very tentative and loose schedule of plan, but at the earliest, we could be moving forward with construction in the spring of 2022, proposed for a fall of 2022 completion. That's probably the most aggressive timeline that one could put to this. But, you know, it's always about taking the small steps to get where you're looking to go. So from here, we would likely be soliciting for A&E firms November, December of this year, and then moving through a design development process with that firm.
Okay, you know, this is gonna be a transformation that people can actually see. You know, when you're building a building, and then, you know, it starts getting into here, but this is something people can actually see it, you know, going forward until the final plans. But you all should be extremely proud in your work you've done, and thank you on behalf of us and the residents of Arundecoit. Thank you, because when you see this, you're gonna own this when it's done. You're gonna own this, so I appreciate all your hard work. So there's a, go ahead.
Mr. Supervisor, the only thing I would add is that for planning purposes, it's a type 2 action for SECRA, but once we have design documents from the A&E firm, that A&E firm will walk the town through the SECRA process as it formally approves the project.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you, thank you.
Item number 29, authorizing an agreement for elevator service.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Commissioner Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution authorizes an agreement for elevator servicing at the Arundecoit Community Center. The low quote here was Bison Elevator Service Incorporated at a lowest responsible quote of $156 per month.
Okay, I have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 30, accepting New York State touring dollars and the appropriate budget amendment.
Motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Second. Third.
Commissioner Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Within the paving plan for 2021, the town of Arundecoit has set yet another record with regard to the tonnage of asphalt laid on town roads. We are likely going to complete this year at 21,000 tons of asphalt laid on roadways. When I joined the town in 2014, we laid 4,000 tons of asphalt. So you are talking several times over, and that's a great testament to Foreman Albert and Working Foreman Fargnoli and the rest of the Department of Public Works crews that work in and on local roadways, resurfacing them. This resolution formally accepts $433,986.40 from the state of New York for purposes of resurfacing roads. So with the funds that the state has injected within the town, we have immediately went and put them right onto local roadways. This allocation for touring dollars was a new initiative from Albany. That's why this late in the year, calendar year, excuse me, we are moving forward with the formal acceptance of these funds and the necessary budget amendments to ensure that we are reimbursed by the state for these resurfacing of roadways. So very exciting resolution. We hope that this funding stream continues for years to come as we would continue to put that tonnage down on local roadways.
Okay, very good. They just couldn't give us that extra $14 though, could they? To round that out. All right, there's a motion, there's a second. Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is adopted.
Item number 31, accepting funding from the Department of State.
Motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Comments, Commissioner Kiley.
This resolution formally accepts a grant in the amount of $50,000 from the Department of State, which has been earmarked for the installation of fire alarm and occupant notification systems within the cabins at Camp Eastman.
Very good. Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 32, authorizing 2021 tax levies resulting from right-of-way town code violations.
I have a motion.
Moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Aaron?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would levy taxes against the property at 413 North Park Drive for noncompliance with right-of-way site distance issues and required town staff to go in and perform the work.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time on this as well. So any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Item number 33, authorizing the reconstruction of existing sidewalks throughout the town, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $250,000 and authorizing the issuance of up to $250,000 in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation.
I have a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution and the resolution that will follow are both the serial bond resolutions before the town board. The first is for the bonding of the $250,000 for the installation of sidewalks throughout town. The second is for the installation of stabilization methods at Seneca and Edgewater Drive in the amount of $600,000. These bond resolutions, as I'll do them both at once, must be passed by a supermajority of the board. All 4 board members must vote in favor, and thus at that time, then it gets kicked over to our esteemed town clerk, which moves through a permissive referendum, and then the estoppel notices, and ultimately through the bond sale through Comptroller Marsh later this fall. This lines these projects up for next year's construction season.
Okay. So there's a motion, a second on the sidewalks. That's the first one up. Any questions or comments? Bob, one comment I have, do you have locations for new sidewalks yet, or is it something,
With
you have an
regard
idea?
to, sorry, Supervisor,
Okay.
with regard to the remediation of broken, heaved, damaged sidewalks, we certainly have a long list. And I think the residents out there will certainly know that we have a great many of those, specifically anywhere near a silver maple that has been planted for more than 30 years, you will likely have a heaved sidewalk. So we do have an ongoing list for those remediations. With regard to the ADA compliance, we follow really any roadway that has utilized CHIPS dollars, similar to the touring dollars that we formally accepted several resolutions ago. The state of New York requires compliance for ADA accessibility on those roadways. Thus, we follow those CHIPS roads for ADA compliance where the sidewalks meet the roadways.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Item number 34, authorizing the town to undertake the reconstruction and stabilization of Seneca Road and Edgewater Drive in the town, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $600,000, and authorizing the issuance of up to $600,000, and authorizing the issuance of $600,000 in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 35, authorizing the 2022 special events calendar.
Now, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Item number 36, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act with respect to entering into a micro-mobility service agreement.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Carrie?
I think this one might be me, Carrie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually. So this resolution would authorize, pardon me here, let me get to the correct agenda item. No, this one is you. My apologies, Carrie.
He just stole it from me. That's
I know.
okay.
You know, he was on a roll, you know?
You know,
On a
Get the
roll.
microphone. You don't want to give it back.
know.
Yes, that's me.
He made up for lost time from last month because he didn't have any, I believe.
You were so used to talking,
Yeah, I
you just
know.
wanted to keep going.
Okay,
So the-
Carrie, thank you.
This is associated with a a contract for micromobility. It's an unlisted action for the purposes of seeker. When we take a look at the potential impacts, we look at the fact that the micromobility, the bike racks or the racks are temporary in nature. They're only out in good weather. They are going to be coordinated with the various permitting agencies, including Monroe County State DOT and town Monroe and the town's Department of Public Works, depending on the proposed locations. It is encouraging alternate modes of transportation, which will potentially reduce the number of car trips and encourage person-powered transportation, and so there aren't any larger or moderate negative or larger moderate environmental impacts associated with the action. So we're recommending a negative declaration.
Okay, there's a motion, there's a second. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye, opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 37, authorizing entry into a micro-mobility service agreement.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You know, Isaac Hutton, I believe his name was here, gave us a presentation the other day, so, you know, Carrie, any comments to go into this agreement?
I mean, I would yield to the town attorney who diligently worked to review the agreement. It does it does only include at this time the bicycle and the I'm not going to use the right terminology, but maybe the e-bike, pedal assist, and I think that there'll be a lot of control over the location of future stations, and it is expanding mobility. In other towns are also following suit and implementing a similar type of program. So it is encouraging and supportive of our active transportation plan and our comprehensive master plan.
Okay, Andrew, any comments?
No, I'll just say that we initially moved the resolution, I think it was in August. The town board had several questions. We then had a Zoom meeting between Hopper and several department heads, and then Hopper came and gave a presentation at the workshop. I think Hopper addressed all the town board's questions. So yeah, I think we have all the information we need.
Any comments or questions from the town board?
I just want to thank Andrew for the time that he spent researching this for us, and I hope, Hopper, if you're listening out there, that you find a way to make this equitable and available to folks that don't have credit cards and cell phones.
Any other comments? I have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 38, authorizing the supervisor to execute landlord-owner waiver concerning agreement with Greenlight Networks LLC.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Andrew, any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, as the town board knows, Greenlight has certain infrastructure here at the town hall campus for the provision of a high-speed internet access. Greenlight is borrowing money from its bank, and as a condition of that borrowing, the bank needs a right of entry on town property if it ever has to foreclose upon Greenlight's equipment. So it's a pretty ministerial resolution.
Always a nice thought. Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Item number 39, adopting a resolution providing for the recording of town board workshop minutes.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I will comment on this. I think it's about time that we start recording and doing our workshops, having we do have minutes, but we'll start recording and bringing it as a recording so we don't have any issues going forward with what was said, what wasn't said. So we have something to fall back on when we have recordings on that. So
I often think the meat of our meetings is conducted in workshop. I mean, we're a great deal of explanation. I always wondered why we didn't record them in the past.
okay, thank you, Councilwoman.
And
Weiner, any other comments?
yes, and I have, I've asked before, I've wondered the same thing, Peter. I think this is a great move forward to be, for clarity, but also for transparency, which is always good. We always want to make ourselves accountable to the public.
Councilwoman Romeo, all set?
Good.
I agree with everyone, all the comments. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. That is the end of our.
Wait.
Whoa, Pete,
Yep.
go ahead.
So I need to revisit the meeting minutes issue from before. So Councilman Romeo spoke at the workshop and came up with some questions, which Councilwoman Freeman is providing a response to. Why can't that be read into these minutes, much like the questions were read into minutes of other meetings?
Well, go ahead, Andrew.
I don't mean to preempt an answer
go
by
ahead.
the other board members, but I think Councilmember Freeman did read them in. She read them out loud verbally, so they should be reflected in today's minutes.
They're in today's minutes.
All right, so as long as those, that's why I voted an affirmative to the meeting minutes, because the new meeting minutes of this meeting got the information that you wanted in the meeting minutes from before. I'm corrected that presumption?
I was also confused about that as well, Peter.
So we have a set of draft minutes for the August 10th meeting. Those were adopted as approved by the town board as drafted by the town clerk. We have the minutes of today's meeting, which should reflect the questions that were read into the record by Councilmember Freeman. At next month's meeting, the town board can vote to approve those minutes, which will include the questioning.
So they're not in draft form right now.
Right, so my affirmation of the workshop meetings was based on the fact that her responses to those questions from that workshop meeting are now a part of this meeting minutes.
Yeah, this one, yeah, today.
All right.
Any other comments? Okay, that's the end of our business. Our next workshop meeting is Tuesday, November 9th. Next regular town board meeting is Tuesday, November 16th. I believe we have a public hearing on November the 4th for the budget. And we have our budget hearings tomorrow night at 5:30 and Thursday evening at 5:30. May I have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn this meeting. You still want to stay long?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion?
I want to see how long I can keep EDR.
All right. You gotta leave them here forever.
Leave. You
Yeah.
just stayed though.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.